Welcome back to Nightly Nonsense, where we make some sense out of the nonsense. Last night I started some nonsense about suckerizing, right? About eating a sucker, right? What happens with that whole thing? We're putting that in context of Acts chapter 2, 42. Right? We're talking about the church, the early church, be wanting to be this way. We said they're devoted to the apostles' teaching. So a couple nights ago I said, who are you devoted to? Who are you listening to? Who's your apostle? Last night we talked about the fellowship. Are you devoted to the fellowship? The third thing that they talk about in Acts 2:42 is the breaking of bread, the eating together, right? This is a very meaningful one to me. Again, a lot of times people talk about this and they just assume communion, right? Oh, they had communion together. The communion was actually an entire meal. Right? Like, so Jesus eagerly anticipated eating the Passover with his disciples. At the end of the meal, they had had a whole meal together. At the end of the meal, he took some bread, broke it, right? Said, this is my body. Took the cup. He said, this is the blood. This is a new covenant, a new way of thinking, a new way of doing things, right? Right? So Jesus, though, he did this all as part of a meal. And then he looks at them and he says, do this in remembrance of me. Whenever you do this in remembrance of me. Well, we take that to be just the little tiny part. Just the breaking of the bread and the cup. But the whole concept is the whole meal. And this is what happened. The disciples, they devoted themselves to breaking of bread, eating together. Do you know what happens when you eat with someone? I was just talking about this with somebody. Man, when you eat with somebody, you can continue on in your business conversations, right? But at other times, you eat with people and you talk about things you wouldn't normally talk about. It's a relaxed setting. So we go back to the sucker example and we say, listen, there are some people when they eat bread with other people, you see this at potlucks, right? They're the first people in line, they sit down, they're all done before half the people even get their food. They chonk on their sucker and boom, they're done. There's no enjoyment in it, right? There's other people who get their food and they just let it sit and they talk too much and they you know what happens at the end of that? You make everybody wait for you because you haven't finished or touched your food. And then you're talking and you're talking and you're talking and then at the end everybody else is done and they're waiting for you. And then there's people who use the meal as an opportunity. Listen. We went through this as a family. I go to my mom's every Sunday for lunch. We have a whole family thing. My mom noticed something, right? She noticed one time that listen, that's exactly how it worked with our family. When some were done, they simply picked up their stuff and put it away. Like we all helped clear the table and everything. They're not paying attention to everybody else who's eating, who wants maybe seconds, all that stuff. They're just hurried. They want to get to the football game. They want to do whatever. They're just eating to eat. There's no enjoyment in the whole thing. So she also noticed that there are some people who they would sit there for an hour, and the food's getting cold. Everything's good, and if we make them wait. If we make everybody wait, well, then you're going to have problems. She figured out, though, that like, hey, let's wait a reasonable amount of time for everybody to get done, right? A reasonable amount of time. Right? So that means that we sit there and we enjoy. So guess what? You're not in a hurry to eat because you know you're going to be there a reasonable amount of time, right? You're not in a hurry to get through things. So you know what? First of all, your food tastes different because you're not just shoving it down. You actually can enjoy it. So you know what you can do? You can actually make real compliments to the people around you who made the food. You'll be like, Mom, that's really, really good. It's funny. I learned that. I love Jell-O pudding cups. You can call me whatever you want. I love Jell-O pudding cups. I love it when there's banana in it. Oh my gosh, it's really good. I eat Jell-O pudding cups one tiny bite at a time. Like I would savor every moment of it. Some people do that with steak. You look at a steak and they cut it into little tiny pieces. You're like, what are you doing? Why are you playing with your steak? Like, no, they want to enjoy every bite, everything, right? There's the food idea, right? There are people who love their food, right? I can't stand, it drives me nuts, people who have mashed potatoes and corn and they put it all together and they just mush it all together and they eat it. And No, you need to be able to taste the corn and the potatoes. They're separate in nature. They need to be separate. They're not all one big thing. And I get it goes to your stomach that way and everything. And I am not the person who says eat all the corn and then eat all the mashed potatoes and then eat all the grapes and eat. No, what I'm saying is, like, enjoy the whole thing. Sometimes we get in such a hurry, we miss the whole point. This is the idea of breaking bread together. Do you know that if I have a bite of food in my mouth, do you know what it gives me an opportunity to do? Listen. Listen. I tell people all the time that I eat Swedish fish when I need to listen. Right? Because I'm one of those people. Doesn't always happen, but you know what? Like, I want to chew my food and swallow before I talk because I can't do it both at the same time, right? Some people, they could do 4 things at the same time. They can talk, breathe, eat, swallow, and it's all one thing. And mine, I can't do that. But when you're breaking bread with people, there's an opportunity for you, right? To listen to other people, to do life with other people, to share with other people. Listen, I didn't make this up. It says that the disciples, the people, they devoted themselves to teaching. We get that. They devoted themselves, right, to the fellowship, to the people around them. We got that. But they also devoted themselves to breaking the bread. How important is it for you to eat with other people? There's great things that can happen when you eat at other people. You know, when you eat across from somebody and you're listening to them, you can look at their eyes. You can see their face. You can see how they're eating. You can see whether they're just trying to hurry things down, whether they're enjoying it. You can see all kinds of things when you're sitting across from somebody, right? And you're just breaking bread together. So let me ask you a simple question. Are you devoted to the breaking of bread, or are you devoted to just eating? There's a big difference, right? Devoted to eating has you going through the drive-through all the time. I see you get food and go. Devoted to breaking of bread has you sitting down at a table with somebody, sharing with them, all of those things. So which one is it? Are you devoted to the breaking of bread? Hey, chew on that. Literally chew on that. We'll talk to you later. Nate and the Nonsense.